Hi there, my name is Louis Taylor. I'm a composer based in the UK. Check this out. What you were just listening to there was mainly coming from the amazing module Beats by Mutable Instruments, and it's a really cool, what they call a texture synthesizer, and it essentially takes some sort of audio signal and then converts it, it kind of like churns it up, and you can control how much it kind of controls the audio. It churns it up and spits it back out in different chunks, or slowed down, or pitched down, or fractally. It's really awesome, and it's really great for all sorts of music, ambient, cool glitchy beats, loads of stuff. I'm really into kind of ambient generative music. I'm not really that well practiced with it yet, so this is kind of why I'm making these more basic videos about these instruments, but this is a really cool module, so let's get into it. Okay, alright, so how do I get from scratch to this point, this nice ambient mix? Well, basically it takes a lot of modulation. You need an original source for the sound and some cool effects to kind of widen the mix up and make it sound a bit more special, really, and realistic in that sense. So basically I'm going to start off by removing the effects just so I can show you. Okay, so now all we're left with is beats. There's no effects on it, it's just a raw sound. There is some modulation happening, so I'm going to remove that for now too. Let's just get these cables out of the way from now, I'll put them back in a moment. Okay. Okay. So this knob here essentially adjusts the size of the sample. So right now the sample is tiny, but it's a kind of textural synthesizer, so because the density is up a little bit and the time is halfway, there's some clicks. If I slowly make this bigger, there's a bit more of a tone. And then you have the whole size. You can also do it in reverse. So now we have that set. What we can do is change the pitch of it. You can get some cool effects just out doing this. I have it down here at the bottom because I want that nice big grungy drone. Now, what I want is the shape of the sample every time it changes to be smooth. So as you can see here, I've got it on this nice sort of almost sine wave, like frequency wave, so that it doesn't become too abrupt. Whereas if I put it on this square wave and then change that, so that one's more like bub. This one's got a bit more of an envelope going like whoa. Do you see what I mean? So it's nice and smooth on this level. Now the time essentially puts it in well, it changes the speed at which the sample is played. So this is like really slow now. The freeze button essentially freezes the sample where you've got it, so you can basically sustain that sound. And when you let go of it, it continues. The seed button allows the synthesizer to take in a seed, a source of the sound, and this button here allows you to determine how much of the source sound is being played versus how much of the granularized, synthesized sound is being played. You can use this button to determine what this input source here, this CV in, modulates. So whether I have it on the loop, basically it's like it would attenuate or attenuate, I suppose, how much or where the loop is being played. But now I can modulate with CV the mix of the sample, and this one I can modulate the density with. Sorry, I beg your pardon. It's not density. It's actually the reverb. So you can then change it back. So I like to keep it on this one for now, just because I think it has a nice little. You can do a lot with this one, but you can do a lot with all of them. This is why it's such a great module. So now we have this really nice sound. To be honest with you, I don't remember where this one came from. I think it originally came from Platts, but to be honest, I just don't know. It kind of just appeared in beats. I was just playing around with it. I put these outputs into my mixer, and this sound was playing. And I was thinking, fuck, how did this happen? It sounds fantastic. I'm definitely going to make some music with this. So you can do anything. I'm not going to ruin this sample, but you can put some other sound source into this, another oscillator or something, and you can warp the crap out of that sound if you want. So you can do whatever you want with it. So let's now try and make this a little bit more musical rather than just a big fat drone going around. I really do find this module beautiful though. There's a lot you can do with it. Like if I wanted to stereo as well. So I'm basically just scrubbing through the sample. The density essentially changes how many different samples can be played at once. In succession. And so on this end of the spectrum, you have kind of much more granular randomness. Whereas on here, it's much more controlled and mathematical. This button here essentially changes the way the actual preset sound source, I suppose. It kind of changes the way it granularizes the sound, so it gets more granular and lo-fi. This one's proper lo-fi. That's kind of pure bit of grain, bit more grain, and then proper lo-fi. So I like to put it on the green one for this because I want a bit of sort of grunge, but I don't want it to be too intense. There's a bit of a hiss on the lo-fi one, which is very desirable at certain times, but not in this instance. Now, obviously I could add some effects to instantly make this more musical. Sounds great. but I don't want to give you guys too much of a hit before we get into the techie stuff. So basically what I'm doing with these cables here is I'm going to use this kind of, there's 8 LFOs, it's called Oct. There's 8 LFOs and they are all outputting basically an LFO at a rate divisible of each other. So basically the top one is like, let's say a whole note, in terms of how much it fluctuates, it's like 100%, and then down here you've got like, I don't know, maybe it's 90%, 80%, 70%, blah blah blah, whatever the 8 is, I guess. I guess it's just in courses or something. But anyway, so I'm also yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to put these sources from the LFO over here to modulate the time, the size, and the shape. And you can basically tell it how much you want it to modulate based on those things. So I want it to be nice and slow. I've got the rate set very slowly. And I'm going to say, so basically, on one end of it, it's much more random. And on the other end, it's a bit more like exponential. So I'm just going to put it around here. So there's a bit more change on the time. Now, on the size, I'm going to put very little because I don't want the size of it to change very much. And then on the shape, I'm essentially going to leave it about where it is, just so it doesn't change too much. Now we have these really nice sources of modulation. You have this kind of wow changing. The sound of it is morphing gradually, which creates a really nice overall texture. Moving on from that, there's a lot else we can do musically on top of this. So now we have the modulation modulation source is set. You can add some effects now. So let's add some reverb and some delay, using the built-in reverb and the effects aid. Now, another thing I'd like to do is actually modulate the dry-wet level of this reverb. Now, unfortunately, you can't attenuate or attenuate how much of that is going to be modulated, so very slow is preferable. Just grabbing a cable. Now, what I'm basically going to do is place that into this random voltage output from marbles, which is a nice slow, set to a nice slow level, and that will keep things nice and ambient and just changing and gradual. And because it's a random voltage, it makes it even more sort of generative and organismic. Now we have this beautiful pad, and that's something that beads are seriously good at doing. Fine tuning now. Now that sounded epic. I'm going to definitely attenuate a little bit of pitch modulation in there too. Check this out. I'm going to take an LFO over here. Now, that is a soundscape. Goodness. Oh my lord, listen to that. You want some ambience? You got some ambience. This fucking thing does it for you. Oh, Jesus. Oh, that is fucking great. Anyway, if you're performing this live, You could tell it how much to do this a little bit more. You could even set this even slower. So that is some seriously nice modulation now. Now what I've got going on with plats over here, ignore the, let's do this what I've got going with plats over here is a little bass loop going on. Now I've essentially got, I think it's qubit bloom here, changing the pitch of this, yeah, triggering it basically with the gain. So I'm going to put my filters back in to wherever they were coming from. Okay. Oh yeah. So we've got some nice random melodies happening with the Behringer 112 oscillator over here. Really nice analog oscillator. A nice pulse beat in the plats and beats generating the soundscape ambience. Clipping a little bit. So there we have it. That is beats in a musical context. Really lovely ambient soundscapes, very powerful module, and pure awesomeness, pure beauty. So I really hope you enjoyed watching that. I'll just let this play for a second. thanks so much for watching. This is a really great module. I seriously recommend it, and there's so much you can do with it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do leave a comment, like, share and subscribe. That's the important bit right at the end there. Please do subscribe and like. And I'll see you next time. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.